Hello, this is Alex Calvo Garcia. You're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, and thanks once again for tuning in to the Iron Hour podcast. I'm your host, Barra. A big thank you to our sponsors, Best Blanks Wholesale. As always, hitting us up with all the merch, so a big shout out to them. I'm joined by the OGs, the original podcasters. First of all, we've got Marco Poliga. Good day, Marco. How are you, sir?
Evening. I'm good. Same answer all the time now with this nice little run. So yeah, feeling good. Looking forward to Saturday.
What day it shapes up to be. Somebody showed me the odds earlier. I think we're Farsley 40 to 1 to win the game.
Yeah, I've looked recently and I can only get 20s. I think a lot of people are thinking, well, for Dew a win.
Saturated the market.
Yeah. Sod's law, it'll be against us. I remember something similar against, was it Blackpool?
Blackpool, yeah. Blackpool hadn't won away from home for 2 years. And honestly, I reckon half the Donny Road end that night had money on Blackpool.
And listeners, I'm sure you are aware now that we've also joined by Max.
Well, look, I've always thought that OG stood for own goals. So if nothing else, I've learned something tonight.
Well, what does it stand for?
I genuinely don't know.
So you've learned nothing.
Original guys?
Original gangsters. OGs.
Oh, yeah. I'm often called a gangster.
And completing the ensemble today is Gareth Holden, aka Iron Army. Hello, Gareth.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is keeping well.
Yeah, we're all good, I think. I know our listeners will be. Because, of course, Marco, we are top of the league.
I know. Who saw that coming? Look, results going our way the other night. There's 9 big games left. I've just read the interview with Butler, saying he's very confident with the staff and everything to get these 9 games over the line and get some results. So, look, the big thing for me, as cliche as it is, it's in our hands, and it really is. So, what we've got on paper, very winnable game on Saturday. We need to go there with a complete performance, rest who maybe needs resting with injuries and stuff, before a big run in. So yeah, top of the league, can't complain.
Gareth, Marco alluded there to the fact it's in our hands. I dislike that kind of rhetoric because what you're saying there is if we win all 9 games, we'll win the league, which of course it's true, but it seems very unlikely we would win all 9 games. My philosophy has been that it's really been in our hands for a long time because looking at these last 9 games, 7 wins should probably do it. Do you see that happening?
I think 9 will do it. No, it is in our hands, isn't it? You know what I mean? If we win all 9 games, we're going to do it. So, and the way Brackley have been going, I know they dropped a couple of points against Kings Lynn, but I think they're the ones to watch. But then having said that, there's plenty of other teams that if we slip up, if Brackley slip up, can jump in there as well. I think it was a big thing after the game against Alfreton talking about Kidderminster. They've got ourselves and Brackley to play as games in hand. Now, if they picked up 6 points from those 2 games, you know, it's wide open again, isn't it? It brings them right back into the mix as well. But yeah, you'd like to think 7 wins out of 9 games would be enough. But the way the season's gone, the way the league's gone with the results, I'd just, if we could get 9 wins, I'd like 9 wins just to make sure.
For sure. Max, you and I have talked long and hard about the fact that with Butler, you maybe don't always get a polished performance, but what you do get is pragmatism. We saw another example of that on Tuesday night, a really professional performance, defensive display, particularly in that second half. What and who impressed you the most?
Look, it wasn't pretty at times, but very rarely against Alfreton is it going to be. You know that the kind of side that they are. Think early to mid 2000s Lincoln, just with less football. So I was impressed with the fact that we got over the line. They had that spell of probably 15 minutes in the first half, right in the run up to our first goal, where it felt like the throw-ins were coming thick and fast. We couldn't quite get out of our 18-yard box. And this will be an answer you like. I was impressed with Boyce. I thought when he came on after Coogan, I thought he played very well. all three centre halves played well over the course of the night. There was a lot of aerial bombardment. I actually quite liked the number 9 for Alfreton. For a big lad, his touch wasn't horrendous, and he did have a bit of more mobility than you'd expect. Go on, Marco. You go on.
It's funny you say that. I saw on Twitter today a promotion for a celebrity game which didn't contain many celebrities at all against the North Yorkshire Fire Crew, and Jake Day was playing for the celebrities next month. Which was very random after obviously Tuesday night, but I wouldn't class him as a celebrity unless he does some Love Islanding on the side. But yeah, I found that very interesting. But yeah, I agree with Max, a really good player.
Yeah, so I would pick out the centre halves probably above and beyond, just because of the difficult night that they had and came through. I think that the second goal as well, obviously a really nice finish from Keane Scales, but it was great work by Carlton on the left hand side to set him up. One of the few genuine moments of real quality in the final third from either side. Fitzsimmons made a big save when it was needed from the 1-on-1. There wasn't anyone I thought played awful, to be honest. You could have picked out most of them and said, yeah, he had a good night.
Marco, Carlton bagged again on Tuesday night. That's 3 goals in 6 games, and those 6 games he's had quite limited game time as well. Bear in mind, he went the first 31 games, although he didn't play in them all. He went the first 31 games without a goal, and really it probably did look like he was going out on loan until the Whitehall injury. Question 1, how much has he impressed you in taking that opportunity? And question 2, how does he fit into the plans going forward with Whitehall's return?
Yeah, I mean, regarding Whitehall's return, I think we discussed Carlton possibly playing on the wing in a free, and I think he's definitely staking a claim to do so. With regards to the goal scoring, I think it's typical, isn't it? Obviously, you could have hit a bando with a what is it? A
banjo.
Banjo. It was a banjo.
A cow's ass with a banjo or a bando, but yeah,
either or. Except,
but look,
it's a banjo for both.
His goals have been the definition of what a striker out of form scores. Everyone says you want it to come off if it comes off his ass, if it's a deflection, and all 3 of his goals have been quite scrappy. So it's just a case of being in the right place at the right time, which is a really good habit to be in, especially at this stage of a season. If we can get, say, if Carlton can bag another 4 or 5 goals even from now to the end of the season to support, obviously Whitehall coming back, hopefully Beck chipping in with a few. Obviously we know Roberts is going to get another 50. But no, any goals from elsewhere in the team is only a really positive thing, and I definitely think Carlton's, when everyone's fit, will be giving Butler some selection headaches because, look, Beeston before his injury was probably the first name on the team sheet. So, yeah, really interesting. But, look, it's a good problem to have. We're going to need every single person in that squad if we're going to get this over the line.
Gareth, one player that Butler highlighted in his interview with BBC Radio Humberside on Thursday, which surprised me a little bit, was Mark Beck. He said he thought Mark Beck had probably his best game for Scunthorpe United. Did you see it the same way?
He held it up well, I thought. You know what I mean? Like it's been said, you know, they're a big unit, Alfreton, especially at the back, and I thought he did really well, actually, because he's not the biggest of guys. He looks more gangly than wide, as it were, but I thought he held himself well against the defence. You know, held it up well, got other people involved, little layoffs. And so, yeah, it was good to see, but he's done that in other games as well, where it's maybe someone else has really shone out in the game and it's been maybe missed a little bit by the fans. But that's what he's got. He can do that. You know, he's winning lots of headers as well, getting stuck in there. You know, I'm not saying there were people running off him when maybe we could have done with that, but yeah, he was effective in what he did and what he had to do. But going back to Carlton as well, the goal, what a great ball in by Rose. You know, I'll say he had to, I don't know what it did really. The defence weren't expecting it, I don't think, to where it was, and Carlton was there in the right place, right time to prod it in. So yeah, but I think like going back to Beck, he's definitely a handful, and he will definitely score again this season for me. I know he's not maybe looked like it, but if we get balls into him, for him to attack as well in the box, then yeah, it'll be even better.
I think with Boyce not starting, I think Mark Beck gives you something more when it comes to defending set plays, because obviously we know Boyce is going to dominate any 6-yard box, really, whether it's attacking or defensive. And I think with Boyce not being on the pitch, it really helps having Beck being able to bring him back for those corners, which kind of leads me on to my next question, which would be Maxi is fit, according to Andy Butler on BBC Radio Humberside on Thursday. If all 3 centre-backs are available, who do you think the centre-back partnership will be on Saturday at Farsley?
It's a very good question. I think it might be Coogan. Just because we're playing Farsley, what you like in possession and maybe a little bit of extra pace is more likely to be beneficial against that opposition than sheer aerial and physicality power. Gareth made a really good point about Beck. The centre half he was up against must have been 6'7". Like he was comfortably taller than Beck, and I don't think that specific challenge is something we're going to face against Farsley. I'm just looking on I've found that 25s for a Farsley win. It's going to be an unusual game on Saturday, but it's an opportunity. You just have to keep the winning run going as best you can. Let's get a good performance. Let's try and boost the goal difference if we can. But I suspect Farsley will be up for it, but they'll not make it easy because they're playing for their pride in their careers.
Mako, just before we do move on to the Farsley game, just want to stick with the game on Tuesday at Alfreton, or Alfreton, should I say. One player that stood out to me, and we don't normally talk about opposition players, but considering he's an ex-Iron player, I thought Luke Mattison looked very, very comfortable on the ball. I was genuinely very surprised. I know clearly we're 2 levels below what we were when we saw him last, but he seems to be maturing into a player that I didn't really see it coming, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, look, is among giants, as Max touched on. I can't remember seeing a side as big as them, and it wasn't just that. They kept the subs that came on. It just seemed to be like a line of just taller players and taller. So he did stand out quite a lot. But no, it was impressive. When he was at the eye, it wasn't necessarily his what's the word? It wasn't necessarily his ability on the ball, which was a problem. It was a lot to do with his side, and it was maybe just a little bit too much too soon at the wrong moment. But no, like you said, he wouldn't look out of place in our team. I thought he was one of their standout players. And look, players like that, an attacking right back in, I know it's awful to say, but a very anti-footballing side, to stand out, I think he's done very well. And he'll be pretty limited as to what he can do. I imagine he doesn't get to venture into the opponent's half very often. He'll definitely be staying back for corners because they'll be sending the 6'7" defenders forward. So, but look, no, I wouldn't say best out of a bad bunch because I think that was harsh. I don't think they necessarily played bad. But no, he definitely did stand out. And I know he was really impressed. And for those who've watched Gareth vlog, I haven't watched it yet, but I don't know if he included it. His shot was very close to being over the line, if not definitely over the line. It was an absolute cracking hit. So,
I think what was it Barry said post match? The net bulged. You lads,
it rippled. It rippled.
Rippled. Yes, you lads were stood down the front, so we would have had a better view than me. But if Alana was flagged and said ball over the line, I'm not sure there'd have been much outrage in the away end, would there?
Probably not.
No.
So it's a good job it was 2-0. Like that is a genuine point about why it's important to kill games, because if it had been 1-0, a crazy strike like that costs you 2 points, but also then the aerial bombardment, which we did sort of face in the last 10 minutes. Well, you can be more relaxed about that when it's 2-0 rather than 1-0. So yeah, the second goal was massive.
I would say even if that shot had gone in from Matheson, it would have still been a nightmare because they would have just kept lumping the ball in, looking for that second. They'd have been up for it then. So yeah, good to be 2-0.
Good to be 2-0. Sorry, Gareth.
No, and for him to miss as well, for it not to go in. Because like I say, if it's gone in, that changes the whole complex of the game again. So, yeah.
Okay, so that finishes off our review of the Alfreton game on Tuesday night. Let's look ahead to the Farsley Celtic game on Saturday, and we'll kick off with our usual Spy in the Camp. Our spy in the camp this week is George Fernley. Obviously, as listeners will know, a Farsley Celtic fan. We've been on previously, obviously, when we played you last year, but this season. And is it fair to say the fortunes have changed a little bit off pitch, if not on the pitch?
Definitely not on the pitch. Not that there was much fortunes there on the pitch anyway in the first place. But yeah, I wouldn't say fortunes have changed. I say we've been given a lease of hope. I think that the new custodians of the club are, now have the best intentions at heart, but we are nowhere near out of the woods yet. Not at all. We've still got some massive, massive things that we need to achieve so that we can stay in this league and fulfill our fixtures for the rest of the season.
What's the current state of play? Because Dave recording on Tuesday, there was a statement that came out from the board where they've trying to galvanise support, basically. A bit of a community day on Sunday, all hands on the pump and try and get... Is it right they're trying to get the stadium up to spec? Obviously, the pitch is
Well,
it's
yeah,
not going to get up to spec, is it?
well, yeah. That's essentially we need to meet ground grading because from what I can work out, they'll probably try to fiddle. I say fiddle, that's more of a negative word, isn't it? They're probably trying to agree a deal with the league and stuff like that to try and come to some, because we've got to essentially to meet ground grading, it's got to be the end of this month. So realistically, we actually have to have a pitch by the end of this month. But when you actually look into it, it's more you need to have evidence that it's going to be ready for next season. So obviously there's that major task that the current board trying to work on. But other than that, there is still loads of other things that needs. I mean, the ground hasn't been used in like 10, 11 months. Can't remember how long it's been. And there's not been many people down there doing bits and bats because there's not needed. No one's been there, so there's no point. So now, yeah, we've got to try and meet ground grading so that obviously we can stay in the league.
It's been like playing the games at Buxton because I think last time we spoke, it was just the day before the announcement, and we were doing a bit of a Google Maps, and it's a 90-minute drive.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's more like it's more like an hour 45, hour 50, especially if if you end up on a coach, it's more, isn't it? I mean, I was speaking when we played Rush Hall, I spoke to their keeper, and it took them less time than it took us to get to book.
That's shocking, isn't it?
I was
It's absolutely shocking.
Cheers, mate. After he'd beaten us 4-1. Cheers for that one.
That is absolutely honking. On the pitch, I'm sorry to rip off the band-aid here, mate, but I guess if you turn the table upside down, you're top.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just like everything's been turned upside down at Farsley Celtic, let's just do it with a table too. Yeah, I mean, on the pitch, I'm not going to sit here and criticise anyone. I can't. At the end of the day, there's a squad of mostly youth players, not all of them, who aren't receiving a wage packet, who are, they're essentially volunteers. For now, I'm sure arrears will eventually be sorted out, but the lads out there, there's no, I don't think. I mean, I'm 24, and I think the oldest player is 24. I'm pretty sure the oldest player is 24, and he's the senior player. Other than like when he goes to when we're talking about like it's a young squad, it's just youth players. A lot of them this season are playing in the FA Youth Cup, and obviously with embargoes and stuff like that, all that's been happening is when senior players have found a way to get out with the situation, and I don't have a bad thing to say about them, by the way, completely understandable that senior players need to leave because at the end of the day, some of them have families and they've got stuff to pay for, haven't they? So they can't afford to be playing for free and travelling all the way to Buxton and stuff. But there is still some senior players left. Well, what weren't senior players are now senior players. You've got João Silva, who's a very young talent, but he's a shiny light. He scored against South Shields. He's definitely when he gets on the ball. It's actually I'm glad we've kept Zhao because he's even though you know that you're probably going to lose when Zhao gets on the ball, something exciting usually happens. He'll usually take it around a few people and give you something to get behind because that's been the difficulty. Is everyone wants to. Farsley have always been really good at getting behind the players no matter what. We've had. I mean, even you'll know firsthand when we lost 6-0 at your place this season, and that was with a full squad of senior players. We were behind the team the whole game. We've always been good at that, but it does get hard, admittedly, when you are getting. I mean, the last game we won was Curzon Ashton in January, right at the start of January. I don't know how we beat them, but we did. And then before that, I'm pretty sure the last win was Bamber Bridge in, I want to say October or November. So that's what we're dealing with as a fan base.
Not
It's
ideal.
difficult. No, no, but there is some positive players in there. Cole Hyde, he looked good when we did have a full squad. So obviously now he looks unreal.
Let's have a
Yeah.
look at the manager's situation then, because the last time we spoke, Pav Singh was in the hot seat. Since we spoke, Neil Redfern came in for a week, was it? Was it even that? And now
Man.
2 weeks. Well, listen, most
Yeah.
experienced one in the squad.
Yeah. Honestly.
And then most recently, David Stockdale, the ex-Premier League goalkeeper, actually listened to he did an episode of Under the Cosh a couple of years ago, and I listened this week just to try and catch up on what kind of a character he is. He sounds like a character.
I tell you what, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, Barry. Honestly, he's unreal. It's been such a breath of fresh air into the club, having Stocky there. I mean, the first time I met him was at the supporters club meeting.
Do you have a
When-
drink? He sounds a bit of a drinker.
But yeah, he had a couple, but he was driving, so he couldn't have had much. But I should tell you what he did do, Barry. He put money behind bar for everyone.
Did he?
Like that's the sort of man we're dealing with. He's a proper nice bloke. I mean, he's happy to talk to anyone, very down to earth. You wouldn't have thought. I mean, it was quite surreal for me because I was at his last playoff final win for
Chef
Sheffield Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was down at Wembley to watch them play Barnsley. Because my best mate is a Barnsley season ticket holder. So I managed to get a ticket through him and
I'll
stuff.
day for him that day then.
Yeah, went down. So it was quite strange. I like, a couple of years ago, I hurled an abuse at you at Wembley, and now here we are talking in a bar. Honestly, so down to earth, has so much time for fans. Speaks from the heart when he does speak. Like he was very happy and open to speak to everybody about the situation.
What's the crack then? Because presumably he's not getting paid. He's doing this to kind of get himself a bit of a name on the managerial side, right?
He's not. He's not getting paid. I know that, but I'm pretty sure that I don't want to go into that too much because
No.
I do know, but it's their financial. It's his financial stuff. Even I said, but let's just say that he's done that. Like sort of from a fan's perspective, he's been unreal. He's done it. He's made a massive sacrifice to be here.
What's his plan then? Do you know? Because next season, presumably, you'll go down. Is he looking to stick with Farsley and bring you back up to
Yeah.
step 2 and maybe even beyond?
Well, if he actually, I can't remember where he said it, but he's looking to he's already preparing for next year. He's already sorting stuff out for next year. So that's where he stands. I mean, from a he basically has a free hit this season, so he's going to be here next season.
Yeah.
And who's to say that he don't have a free hit next season? Because there's still so much off the pitch that he's sorting. It's not. I don't think people realise it's not just a pitch that we need. We are in deep trouble, but we need everyone to get behind us now, especially financially, because we've been left in a situation which could we're not out of the woods. We could still be crippled and not get out of this.
How
But-
much has the fundraiser helped then? Because that's something that I think a lot of Scunny fans got involved with and donated quite
Yeah.
a bit.
Honestly, Scunthorpe fans have been unreal. I think there's good relate. I hope it's not all in my mind, but I think there seems to be a really nice
Definitely.
relationship between Farsley and Scunthorpe. Like especially, I mean, after last season when you guys came away to us, I mean, I think we put on a decent show for you guys. Like from what I could gather before that game, Scunny fans were treated like animals. Like when they came to a ground, it was police, stay over there, don't do this, don't do that. And we gave you, I think, the first taste of real non-league football and what it should be like, which was you're allowed cans, you're allowed drinks, go where you want, mingle where you want. And to be fair, like to say there were, I think it was 2,300 people there or thereabouts, which were mainly Scunthorpe. There was only one incident between a Farsley and a Scunthorpe fan, and the other two incidents were between Scunthorpe fans themselves. So that'd have happened whether they were, at a segregated or non-segregated.
So yeah, we get on, don't we? It's definitely we don't want to see you get into any further trouble. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're a good set of lads. I like you, George. You're a good lad. You're a celebrity these days on Ellis's vlog. I see.
Oh no, I enjoy that. He's very down to earth as well. Like
Can I have your signature, or
you are.
can I have your signature? And can I just get it out there that we were the ones that gave you the platform first? So royalty.
Yes, and
my way.
I think you'll find on WhatsApp I have thanked you for stuff like that. Just so everyone knows that I have thanked you for. Yeah, you did give us a good platform to boost. And to be fair, I made sure that I sent Ellis that podcast that we did last season, so he knows you by name now.
Listen, mate. Yeah, that's how we do.
You should get him down to Scunny.
Get on this, Ellis lad. Yeah, I'm loving it.
But to
Right,
be fair,
finally then. Go on. Sorry, go on, George.
well, no, I was just going to say that there might be a couple more parts to those videos coming because I mean it is the perfect three-parter, isn't it? You
Yeah.
come when we're down, you come to see what it's like at end of season, and then you come to see what it's like
Promotion.
when we got a pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like it's going to be the classic, the back home video, isn't it? But if we do,
I'm hoping for that when we get back into the Football League. Maybe, maybe not. Finally, before you go, George, do you want to hit us up with a score prediction? How do you see this one going on Saturday?
like
Be honest.
honestly,
Go on, don't save face and go, oh, I think we'll get a draw. Go on, what do you reckon, mate?
do you know what? I don't know why, but I spoke to my wife. About it, and I said 5-2 Scunny. I've not seen it. I mean, annoyingly, I couldn't attend when we played South Shields, so I was trying to work out when I've last seen us score, and it was against Marine.
Just for the listeners, there wasn't a delay there. We didn't lose, George.
I was just scrolling how far.
You got
that far
the
back.
abacus out.
Yeah, I mean,
live score doesn't go back that, but he's gone that far. It doesn't even date it.
Well, I'm just trying to scroll back to see when we last scored 2. Oh, we beat Kings Lynn. Oh, what a night that was! That were a beautiful week, that, because we had Kings Lynn and Kidderminster on the same week. I think we did like 12 hours travel that week. So to beat Kings Lynn on Tuesday, that were a Tuesday night, we went down there.
Did you get a result against Kiddie as well?
No, we lost 1-0. It was unfortunate. We could have got a draw out of that. Kiddie were definitely the better team. We had a really good, actually. He was a really good keeper, but he sort of flapped at a corner and it went in. Kieran Flavel plays for Barnsley. He were on bench actually at a weekend for Barnsley. He's a brilliant keeper. I mean, in FA Trophy, that lad saved us against Bamber Bridge. It was unbelievable. We went 1-0 up and then just sat under Kosh against a struggling Northern Prem side, which didn't make sense. But he kept us in that game massively. But yeah, I mean, we've got a decent keeper now on loan from Nottingham Forest. Brookie, really good keeper. So and you'll see that he's one of those lads where it's like when we had Zan Luke Laban last season. Whenever we came away from somewhere, everyone would go, "What, that keeper?" And it's same with this Brook. He's really good.
We'll see you on Saturday, mate. And
Yeah.
all the best for the rest of the season. Hope things turn around and If you do drop, hope to see you back in step
I have
2.
a feeling this might be my last appearance on this podcast for a while.
I'm hoping this, even if you manage the impossible job, I'd still hope it's the last one, because I fear for Scunny. If we don't go up this year, I am looking at Macclesfield coming up and going, it's going to be tough next year in this division. It's going to be really tough, mate.
And you'll have Boston coming. Well, are Boston still in relegations?
Yeah, they're right in the muck, mate.
See,
they done us that last season, didn't they, in the semis as well? So we don't want.
I've been there 3 times. Boston away. I've never seen a score.
We don't want any of that smoke. Well, that was a great one. So, Marco, I'll kick off with you. We heard there about the close connection, the affiliation between the two clubs now from George, who we've had on the podcast before, and it has to be said, as we did mention there, we kind of were the ones giving them a platform back in October. So it's great to see things, although, we're touching wood, might be taking a bit of an upward trajectory for them now.
You have to bring it back to touching wood and not touch wood. But no, look,
beautiful, Marco, beautiful.
Look, like you said, it was fantastic, and I think it was probably one of our best watched episodes. The one we did that wasn't even about us, ironically. It was all about Farsley, sort of giving them that platform. Look, we and Scunthorpe United know more than anyone the position they're in. It's awful, and to think that you maybe not have a club, or maybe, I know they're getting beat, and I know it's not great at the minute, but to think that you're not going to have that opportunity to go see your side on a Saturday, it's not nice for anyone. So, look, obviously, they've raised a lot of money through the crowdfunder, and yeah, it's good that we've sort of got this link up now, and if they want to go easy on Saturday, we can do, but no, it's great, and I know you're going to mention it a little bit later with the bucket collection and everything, so it's really good. I do wish them the best after Saturday.
Max, over to you.
Yeah, Marco mentioned it there in terms of the bucket collection. I want to give a massive shout out to Will Priestley, who's a real great Scunny fan, and helps run the buses to away games from Glanford Park. In the Facebook group, the Away Travel Scunthorpe United, he posted earlier today, so for Thursday evening, saying, on the coach this Saturday for our trip to Buxton to play Farsley, there'll be a collection which will be given to a director of Farsley at the game. There'll be a photo of this which will be shared online should anyone wish to be involved in that. Thank you, the Iron. So if you're on the bus, try and carry a bit of change if you can, or if you drop Earl a message and maybe try and meet them there, or I'm sure other arrangements could be found. I think they'd be very, very grateful for any support. As Marco mentions, they've been doing the online fundraiser, which I'm just looking at now, has raised £13,631, which for a club of that size is literally the difference between going under and not. As Barrett mentioned, touch wood, George, the spy in the camp as well from Farsley. Things look slightly less apocalyptic than maybe they did 2 or 3 months ago, but that's because of their hard work. That's because of raising awareness of it. That's because of the fundraising, the donations that I know many Scunthorpe fans have given. You only have to go down to Just Giving and you see real, lots of messages of support from Scunthorpe fans. So if you haven't, or if you're not at the game on Saturday, if you Google Farsley Celtic Just Giving, it will come up. And yeah, let's when clubs went under, when Macclesfield went under, when Bury went under, when we were close, let's not beat about the bush. We all said never again that football clubs shouldn't be going under. So the way in which people have rallied round a proper football club is heartening to see.
Well said. Gareth, this is the point where we usually talk about opposition players, what we might expect tactically. George will be the first to admit it there. Who knows what you'll get?
Yeah.
It's the players are on constant rotation. The team that will start on Saturday, almost none of them are from the original squad at the start of the season. So it's difficult to kind of analyse too much. But let's talk about the manager, David Stockdale, obviously ex-Premier League goalkeeper. Mm-hmm. And George touched on there the fact that he's effectively got a free crack of the whip this season, if not next season. What do you think we could expect from them going forward on Saturday in between now and the end of the season, do you think they're already in consolidation mode for next season?
I think they are. Obviously, they'll want to be putting a shift in and doing the best that they can, but you just can't see it end of the way, can you? You know what I mean? They've got to be looking towards next season and just, well, what's happened's dreadful. Should never have happened, but it has. But yeah, so the players that are playing for them, there's a lot of youngsters playing for them as well. They're just, they're going to want to show what they can do and play as a team, as a unit, and all. Hopefully, they stick together. You don't. Last thing I'd want to be seeing. Well, I'll say the last thing, but if we're 6-0 up, say at half time, I'm not saying we're going to be, but for example's sake, the last thing you'd want to see them doing is like a bit of infighting, a bit of falling out. They've got to stick together and work as a team, as a unit, and try and keep. If they get a chance, they're going to try and take it, obviously. But you'd like to think that would be too much for them. Same as you'd like to think would have been too much for Russell after being 1-0 up. But it's football, isn't it? So all it needs is something to go in for them or whatever. It just changes the complexity of the game again. It's about us keeping our heads into what we need to do, not turning up thinking, yeah, we've won this already, like we have done on many times before. So we've got to be on our game as well. But yeah, I think they're consolidating, really, looking towards next season and seeing where they can hopefully be back at their home ground and starting afresh and looking to go back up.
Fair enough. Max, let's have a look at what we might expect then from Farsley. It's a difficult one to put your finger on, but what do you think we might see from the Farsley team? And by contrast, what are you hoping Butler will enforce from his squad on Saturday?
Well, certainly, if I was Farsley, I'd be looking to make things as difficult as possible for Scunthorpe. We've seen it with plenty of other sides, but keep it simple. Have a good shape out of possession, a bank of 4, a bank of 5. Compress the space, keep things probably nice and narrow defensively. So if I was Farsley, I'd probably want someone up to try and hit back. Don't let them get in behind you. Don't let the nice little triangles in those half spaces happen. Keep your heads up. Keep it at 0-0 or at 1-0 for as long as you possibly can. I think back to only a couple of weeks ago where they did only lose 1-0 to Chester. And as we literally talked about in terms of the Alfreton game, I don't care who you are, I don't care who you're playing. If it's 1-0, you're still in the game. You only ever one magic strike, one defensive slip, one referee fudge up away from taking something out of the game. And Gareth made another really good point there in terms of Russell. That's the only game in the last 3 months that we've lost. We haven't got a right to go to anywhere in this league and expect or demand 4, 5, 6-0 or worse. If I was Butler, I probably wouldn't be looking to rotate the starting lineup. I think that would be too presumptuous. I'd just be looking to get into a situation where you put in the best performance possible. You move the ball quickly. Let's have options in the final third. If you can get yourself into a good position where you're comfortable, let's say a couple of goals in front by half-time, by the hour mark, then that might be when you're looking to make substitutions and rest players for Tuesday. We all know Butler loves a good sub. So I'm sure he'll have options on the bench there. But look, a win is a win is a win. And if we can get that on Saturday, it will be job done. You don't get any more points for winning by more goals.
Never a true word was said. Marco, bit of an open mic to you. Give us your thoughts ahead of this game and anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, just sort of echo what Max said there. Like, we don't have a right to go into any games and expect to win. But to me, these are the games where Butler earns his wage. It's getting the players motivated and up for a game like this where they are expected to win. The Chester game at home, he shouldn't need to say anything in the dressing room. Look, there's going to be just under 8,000 people in that stadium. If they not want to go out and win, then look, they're not in the right job. Whereas Saturday, it maybe does need that little bit of extra words said, mentioning complacency, taking your chances. I do think we'll make a couple of changes, especially with it being 4G pitch. I can see possibly Starbert coming in at right back. Obviously, Rose got injured previously, and Butler was saying how he didn't want injuries going into something worse, and I don't think 4G pitch would help that. just little niggles. I think it is a chance to rotate. And look, this squad we've got, they're all starting for Farsley at the moment. Let's be honest. Even our bench. So I don't think it's too big a risk if the injuries are there. Obviously, nothing too wholesale. I'm talking 2 or 3 changes. But no, look, it's one we'd have to be up for. It's one I'm hoping we are. Because, like you say, it's a banana skin. And look at Chester going there. And they were flying at that point. They were absolutely flying, similar to how we are. So we cannot take them for granted.
You want to hit us up with a score prediction, Marco?
2-0 Iron again.
2-0 Iron again. I'll take that. Gareth, how do you see this one going?
I'm going to go 4-0.
Nice. Max?
I'll split the difference and go 3-0.
Okay. I'm going to go 5-1, Scunny.
Oh.
I know. Look.
I bet, do you know what? Butler would be really pissed off if we concede on Saturday.
Yeah, of course he would. Do you know what, though? That speaks to the kind of professionalism and the standards they have in this squad. In fact, Butler was talking in his pre-match interview on Thursday, saying that what he likes about Ollie Rose is his enthusiasm for clean sheets. I just thought that line stood out to me because it wasn't his enthusiasm to get on the ball. It was his enthusiasm to keep clean sheets. I think, all right, yeah, I can get on board with that.
It showed. And look, at the end of the game on Tuesday, I know we're going back to it, but obviously Kelly and Fitzsimmons had a little bit of a barney, but
yeah,
you want to see that. It finishes after the game. They both care about this clean sheet. It's late on, we were 2-0 up, and it shows in that team. I mean, it's no fluke that we've got 22 clean sheets this season. It's not a fluke. We are back 4-5 when obviously the other defender at centre back rotates. They love defending, and I think Butler's installed that into him, and you can see that.
Just on that point, actually, totally team Fitzsimmons on that. I thought if anyone did frustrate me a little bit, it probably was Kelly. He made a couple of pretty ropey defensive errors that weren't very helpful at the time. But Marco's right. It's good to see the passion. I want to see that the players care.
I think you're outnumbered on this because we were all stood together and I think we all put the blame at Kelly's door on that one because
that's literally what I said.
Sorry, I'll rephrase that. We all put the blame at Fitzsimmons' door on that one, didn't we, Marco?
I didn't think he wanted it. I think you could see he didn't want it, and there were no need. But look, it's gone, and we got away with it.
Yeah.
If we're having the same discussion after the Kidderminster game, I mean, with any luck, we should be at least 4 points clear by that point. If you go to Kidderminster and get a win, you're in a really strong position. Give me points on the board over games in hand any day. And secondly, arguments are worth points any day of the week.
Mm. Okay, right then. Let's wrap that one up. So that was our preview of the game at Farsley Celtic on Saturday. Let's have a quick past player watch. No jingle yet. Gareth is still working on it.
Is it my turn now?
Well, this past player is all for Marco. So our player in the spotlight this week is none other than Ross Millen. And
my money would have been on Jonathan Fort.
And Ross Millen these days is playing for Morecambe in League Two.
Is he?
And he is. And he actually played, now listen to this, you're not going to believe this. He played 90 minutes on Saturday. According to Transfermarkt, he played in right midfield. Thoughts on that one, Marco?
Have we still got no players? Did we have a bench?
They must be in the shit.
Yeah.
They lost. It was a 2-1 defeat to MK Dons, but yeah, Transfermarkt has him here as playing 90 minutes on the right wing. So there you go, Ross Millen, the absolute baller.
According to the BBC, I had him playing at right wing back.
Brilliant.
Which might be even worse.
Those BBC lineups are often shocking, though. I think it had Danny Whitehall playing left back last season.
Yeah, at our level, they're particularly bad. I usually think the EFL. I usually think they're closer to the money. But Marco, how do you feel about the fact that Ross Millen is 2 divisions above us? 2.
Okay. Would you swap him for our right midfielder?
No.
Exactly. And I've just checked, and Morecambe are in the relegation zone, which I'm guessing if they're playing Ross Millen on the wing, they better get comfortable.
If you offered me right now Ross Millen or Luke Mattison, I'd take Luke Mattison every day of the week. Every day of the week. I wouldn't even be against chucking him, looking at him for next season, and I mean that as like an option if one of the right
obviously,
backs
I mean,
goes.
what was it when he was 15, 16? Wolves paid about £1 million for him, I believe. So there clearly is a player in there somewhere.
He did a year in Ireland, so he wouldn't be a big fee. Obviously, he pressed on Tuesday. We don't know what he's been like the rest of the season.
No. He got man of the match the week before, didn't he? On Saturday, right. He got their online man of the match. Go on, guys.
When he was with us last time round, it was Keith Hillier, wasn't it? So, you know.
We were in a relegation, but it's a lot in it to ask of a young lad. That.
Yeah. So I think, if he did come back, be a bit more mature, a bit more playing with better players as well. Yeah. You'd like to think, anyway.
It made me laugh on the podcast last week with Danny Whitehall when Danny Whitehall said Keith Hill sort of crushed his dreams earlier, and I went, "Joint, get in queue." All our dreams, Danny. You're not the only one.
Right, let's move on then to our hero, idiot, and moment of the week. Gareth, who's your hero of the week?
Hero, it's an easy one, really. Not a lot of thoughts going into it. It's Andy Butler and the team. Just for getting us back to the top of the table. I know he got a lot of stick earlier on in the season, and fans wanted him gone. And I was like edging to, is he the man? But to turn it all around, the place to turn it around as well, and to put us back at the top of the league with 9 big games to come. Let's put it back in our hands, and Andy Butler and the team.
Marco, who's your hero of the week?
Mine's another one. It's an obvious one. It's not football related. It's boxing related, and it's Gemma. You've all seen on our Twitter, Facebook, socials. We had a big group outing after the game on Saturday, and Gemma won her first fight as a professional boxer. She beat a girl called Angelica, if I'm right. Poland, who a big shout out to her as well because it was a good fight. She took a lot of punches.
I think she listens. She listens to the INR.
She will do. I don't know. But when Gareth
massive in Poland.
When Gareth said who's listening, we've got some strange countries that listen like once or twice. Probably not Poland. But no, Gemma did really, really well. And got the first victory quite comfortably in the end. So look, we need to celebrate people and athletes, especially women athletes from Scunthorpe. So it was really good to see.
Yeah, huge shout out to Gemma Richardson in her points victory. Scorecard read 60-55 in the end. It was a really, really dominant performance. We're speaking to her and her dad afterwards and just echo, our positive encouragement really for Gemma Richardson, someone I know quite well. Really, really good talent. Of course, was the Commonwealth Games silver medalist. The sky's the limit for Gemma. And, I don't think we're waiting too many years actually before you see her on a big card going for a Commonwealth title, a European title, and even one day a world title.
The club needed it. I think Gemma Richardson headlining Glanford Park. That'd blow Tom's in it out of the water.
It was so obviously the fight was at Bolton Wanderers Football Club. Not on the pitch, but they had a great venue in that main stand, didn't they?
Yeah.
As part of it, a boxing fight and a football pie hot dog at the same time. Like, what more could you want on a Saturday night?
Well, quite, yeah. Good venue, like you say. I've done that one before, but yeah, it was just incredible performance. Big up to Gemma Richardson. Big up to Big up to the boxing scene in Scunthorpe. Go on, Max.
I was about to say. So obviously, after the fight, there's a few people knocking about. And what question did she ask you, Barry?
Listen, lads. You tell them, Max.
No word of a lie. This was in front of multiple witnesses. Gemma's gone up to Barra and gone, "Oh, what did you think, Barra? You know your boxing."
She had just been punched in the head. she didn't even know it was Barra. We can't confirm this, but that was good to see.
I think, honestly, if Barra has been honest, best moment of his life, maybe.
Yeah, it was up there. I was just buzzing that those witnesses. It was kind of the moment was taken from me when Marco started shouting, "Medic! Medic!"
Oh yeah, if it hadn't been in front of witnesses and Barry had come over and said, "You never guess what she asked," I'd have been calling BS like poo off a shovel.
I wouldn't have talked about it, mate. It's said and forgotten, you know. Max, who's your hero of the week?
Right. Obviously, Marco's given the correct answer, but my nonetheless token hero of the week is the manageress of the pie stand at Alfreton on Tuesday. A, for coping admirably well with Barra's meltdown when Marco Q-jumped. B, for having what was, I think, the world's largest supply of cheeseburgers available. The Scunthorpe queues just didn't die down all night. A lot of people that clearly rushed straight from work and hadn't had the tea, so they must have made an absolute killing. And also, they were selling something I've genuinely never ever seen before or heard before, which was electric Pepsi.
Oh yeah, it's very cheap at wholesalers because they cannot get rid of it. That's all I'll say.
Well,
Max looked like he'd been kissing a Smurf.
Yeah, genuinely. I had a blue tongue by the end of it because all the other drink options were cans, and I thought, I know what the away end's like. You get a can, it'll all go flying. At least with a bottle, it's less likely to. It tasted like that knockoff Lucasade. You're getting home bargains for that 40p. But look, I'm happy to try new things, and electric Pepsi was one of them on Tuesday night. The food was pretty good, actually. My chips and gravy were really good.
And I'll add to Max's point there. The two ladies in the beer bar, they did run out of a lot of beers, but I said, no worries, I'll have a cider. And they said, we've sold out of everything tonight. It's not new movie, it's busy. She said, but you guys are the most polite away fans we've had, which I'm sure doesn't get said very often.
How many trophies do you get for that?
But no, that was nice to hear.
That's a great shout out, particularly once we've bought all of their beer.
Yeah, I said that's a lot easier to be nice with a big till full of cash. But no, it was good to see. It was a good away, a really good following. We haven't mentioned that.
I think that's what we need to put: the most polite away end drunks in the National League North.
You'll never sing that. Okay, so the points, of course, go to Marco for Gemma Richardson. That is the only right answer accepted this week. Let's move on to our idiot of the week. And Gareth, who was your idiot of the week?
Sorry, Marco, but I might need the point. It's you for jumping in. Much to Barra's dismay, I've never seen such a meltdown. So Marco started about fourth or fifth at the back of the queue amongst us. Dylan and Jack were there as well. And he's ended up second behind Jack. And Barra was absolutely dismayed at this.
He was going berserk. I've never seen
a disgrace. Like
it.
It's an absolute
it wasn't happy. I think
self-entitlement of it.
I think Barrett would be the type of person that if he's at the checkout with about 100 items on the conveyor belt and somebody turns up behind him with a cucumber, he'd make him wait.
No, I wouldn't. I'd let him go. As long as they ask politely, they can nip straight in.
So I don't even ask.
To be honest,
which will make the cucumber disappear.
Well, honest, genuinely, right? Very quick sidebar. Speaking of cucumber, when I worked at Pizza Hut, we ran out of cucumbers once, and I was tasked to go to Tesco and buy as many cucumbers as the manager's £20 note would get me. It's about 40. I've had some dodgy looks in my life, but never in the ballpark as I got buying nothing but 40 cucumbers.
It's for the week.
Okay, this is taking a turn. Marco, who was your idiot of the week?
My idiot of the week, I don't know if anybody, I don't know how big it is over here. I know I sent it across to you, Barry, early on in the week. It's an American track runner, and you will find the video on Twitter or TikTok. Facebook. She's called Alazia Everett, and she is a track runner in America. She's doing the relay, and she's just been handed the baton, which is metal, by the way. And she notices she's been overtook on her right hand side. To then stop the girl overtaking her, she proceeds to absolutely lever her to the back of the head with said metal baton. To which
how have I not heard of this?
Yeah, so obviously she's gone to the floor, been disqualified, obviously.
You haven't even heard the best bit yet, Max.
But the best bit was she then did a video, obviously tears, saying how out of character this was, and it was an accident, and she wouldn't ever do anything like this whilst the video's playing behind her of her absolutely leverage. And the top comment was, "You do know how cameras work." Yeah, it's pretty damning.
I mean, that's ABH.
She has been charged with assault.
Yeah,
because
actually,
yeah, it was very bad, but funny because she's fine, so it's okay to laugh. But yeah, that's my.
That's good, mate. You've got to send me that link. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Okay, Max, who, by the way, great moment. Who was your idiot of the week?
So it was nearly you, Barra, for the biggest ever meltdown in the pie stand at Alfreton. However, I decided instead to go for me because after we played Marine, you know, that anyone who was there, the first 80 minutes were absolutely dreadful. We burgle, and I mean burgle, a 2-1 win. I remember having a few drinks with my dad later that night, and basically said, if they lose that, you know, losing games like that sends you down. They were well deep ensconced in the relegation zone at that time, and I just thought, well, I was convinced they were going to go down. They're now 11 points clear of safety. 11. Their form is absolutely outrageous. They're level on points with Southport and Alfreton. And frankly, I think they've probably got enough. I think if they lost their last 8 games of the season, I think it probably might be enough at this stage. Absolutely amazing turnaround for both of us, really. Since that game at Marine, it seems like both teams have turned a bit of a corner. So, yeah, absolute massive shout out to them. And goes to show that you don't always know as much as you think you do after 90 minutes of football.
Okay, so the points obviously go to Gareth because Marco was the idiot of the week this week, which means we head into.
But Marco, he's moved on. He's moved on. He's not bitter. It's fine.
No, but this is like the old Fitzy and Kelly thing.
We
can have a go at each other. It's forgotten, mate.
No, it's Ross off Friends where he goes, "I'm fine." Yeah.
Nah, mate. Listen.
Break, all right, we were on a break.
This fucking podcast was nearly on a break there, mate. I'm telling you. No, but like, do you think
honestly, for anyone who wasn't there, this is not a joke. I cannot emphasise enough how genuinely raging Barra was. He was steam coming out of his ears. He was fuming. Yeah,
a little bit of head loss. As I say though, Marco, we're good as gold now, aren't we, mate?
I'm happy to hold my hands up on it. I definitely pushed in at least 2 pence. But obviously, I am the fattest on the podcast, so I need feeding first.
Yeah, I think that I'll hold up in a court of law. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's move on to our moment of the week. We'll sit with you then, Marco. What was your moment? Of the week? Don't say fucking pushing in, mate. No, we've really milked this as much as we can.
Mine was you'll have all seen this one. It's the Gary Neville BBC interview with Ratcliffe, the Man United owner. It's an absolute car crash. I know he's obviously gone on with a past hero to sort of maybe think he's maybe going to go a little bit easy on him or the questions are going to suit him. But no, Gary Neville, to be fair, holds his own. It'd be very easy of him to ask for right things and yes sir, no sir, but he doesn't. And obviously his passion comes through. But honestly, the conversation, if you can watch it, even just a 10-15 minute clip of it, please do, because like he goes on about how he's had to cut the staff lunches, made hundreds of people redundant. Yes, those people there. I mean, he said they had a body language expert who was on 175,000 a year. A body language expert. I mean, what a job that is.
You could have done that, Marco. Hey!
But yeah, no, and look, obviously that needed doing, but to cut staff dinners and thinking that's the solution, and goes on to say Man United would have run out of money by the end of the year, to only then announce a new £2 billion stadium the day after, which, get this, the Manchester rejuvenation scheme will help pay for it, he said. It was just absolutely fantastic. And I mean, the whole interview, it's crazy to think a team like Man United could be in the situation we are in right now. It'd be a shame to knock Old Trafford down because, look, it's historic. But yeah, to go on about how skint we were to them.
Do genuine prediction: that stadium never happens.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
Manchester is the most regenerated city on planet Earth, and the idea that the government or Manchester City Council is going to step in and go, "Here's £1.5 billion." You know, this isn't America. They're not a franchise. They can't move to a different city. They can't blackmail Andy Burnham. Bugger off, man! You bugger off.
And to be fair, I've seen better marquees in Glanford Park on Community Day than that stadium. Can I just say, like, absolute circus tent. Max, hit us up with your moment of the week.
A bit underwhelming compared with a £2 billion concept stadium anyway. But it was Keane Scales' goal. I often think he goes underappreciated. He's a real engine. He's a real worker in the middle of the park. It was a nice finish. It was great build up from Carlton, who again seems to be growing in confidence. Thought he had arguably his best game for us, and as we said earlier, us taking it to 2-0 for the pan of the game, and the last 15 minutes especially was massive. It was the moment of the night where I went, right, we're now winning this game. Keane Scales' goal.
It's a very good answer. Gareth, it needs to be good. You need to pull this out of the bag to get the win and take the points.
I'm not going to get the win with this, but the moment is the Alvarez penalty double kick. Just in the Champions League, took forever to decide what was going to happen, and there's that many camera angles of the kick that I think there is one that shows it moves ever so slightly, and I mean ever so slightly before his right foot gets to it. But yeah, just all the media about that, and yeah, that was it. It's boring, really.
I'm
thought about it.
I'm going to give the points to Max, if I'm being honest, because it was probably the best answer, which means we're all level. There's no tiebreaker, so everyone's a winner today.
Come up with a tiebreaker. Think of one. Go on, think of one.
Need a penalty shootout, no two touches.
Yes, I was just about to take the conversation on a bit and say we were talking just before we started about that incident. Max, I'm thinking for things like that where it's clearly an accidental double contact, surely just let him retake it. That should be the rule, right?
Yeah, and that is an issue with the rules. Although I have seen when I was looking at it where, UEFA to discuss penalty rules with lawmakers after Alvarez missed. It's like the 5th story on the BBC Sport app. Look, you can argue about what is or isn't accidental, but if the penalty taker ends up on his arse and he's very clearly slipped, that is accidental. Look, when it comes to penalty shootouts, I'm never prepared to have any sympathy with Diego Simeone, even against Real Madrid. So, look, ultimately, Diego, swivel on that. But
he's crying now. He's like, Max Belsing.
Yeah, I know. He's saying, look, I should never have kicked Beckham. I should never have gone down screaming. That stupid referee should never have disallowed a perfectly good Sol Campbell goal and then just not told the England players where Argentina started attacking up the other end.
Can I just put in there and just say,
I'm over this game. 28 years later, I'm over it.
Just about to say, Marco, by the way, if you're wondering what it's like being an England fan, we're talking about something that happened in 1998.
Yeah.
The thing is, as well, there's one thing I know about Simeone is he will be taking Mr. Hart.
So, to put this into context, that game was before Scunthorpe got promoted at Wembley. That's how long ago that game is. But look, it'd be interesting to see if they do review it. Like Gareth said, there was camera angle where maybe he's kicked it twice. I'm still not convinced. So how VAR reached that decision quite so quickly, I'm genuinely not sure. But it's the Champions League. I don't know.
One thing on the penalty theme, I remember on the way home from Alfreton on Tuesday, we had the penalties on for the Liverpool PSG game. Can't remember who was on comms, but it said you'd have to fancy Liverpool here with Alisson between mistakes being informed. And then I went, yeah, but PSG have Donnarumma, who could, I don't know if he was a keeper in world football a minute, who fills a net as well as Donnarumma.
Good point.
So yeah, I wasn't really surprised they won. But yeah, definitely a week which revolves around penalties this week.
Sorry, has anyone seen that Bruno Fernandes has scored a hat-trick whilst we've been recording this?
Yes. Crazy thing. Get that stadium built.
Get it built. 4 more years.
Two of them were penalties though. Who does he think he is? Josh Wright.
Penanders.
It's the same amount of goals, mate. Right, that wraps up this episode of the INO podcast. We've got 2 games next week, so we're hoping to bring you 2 action-packed episodes. Same as the one earlier on in the week. It might be a slightly different format, but we try to bring you something so you can enjoy it on your way down to Kidderminster on Tuesday night.
And a massive reminder, if you see any past Iron players up to no good, within reason, scoring, doing anything, please let us know. You can send us a DM, bump into one of us at a game, just tell us. Because we do, I can't be having Barra tell me about Ross Millen again. I really can't.
The more obscure, the better.
Yeah.
If you find something that's like Bjarni Larison playing in the Icelandic 4th Division Futsal League, I want to know.
I want to know what Robin Cunt's doing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
He's actually working in Amsterdam at the minute. He's working just something behind a shop window or something.
He's above you on my screen.
Is that you pushing into the queue? Right. Thanks once again for listening to the INO podcast. It's been a blast, and we'll see you next week. Up the iron.
I'm Scunthorpe till I die. I'm Scunthorpe till I die. I know I